If immortality was granted to 1 million individuals worldwide, what would be a fair selection process? I'd make sure they actually want to live forever first. Of course. So if you're young, do you physically age? No, you stay forever healthy, but for the sake of example, let's say you stay somewhere between 20 to 40 years old. Russian roulette. I'll take those odds. Randomly choose 500,000 people who each get a +1. That feeling when your parent chooses your sibling as their +1. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by the toe. Every rolling a d20 at once until there are only 1 million people left. Edit. Yeah, I kinda had a stroke. Someone pointed out that there's a chance that an insufficient number of people below 1 meter might roll a 20. In that case, the ones with the H's numbers will roll. Theoretically, you need only select the people who roll 3 20s in a row. Everyone gets assigned a number and have the random number god handle the rest. Dibs on being random number god. Fight to the death to see who is worthy. I'm straight up camping till the final circle in that case. Rock paper scissors, best out of 3. Then best out of 5 if you lose. Highest ratio of good deeds to bad deeds. Wouldn't want 1 million awful people to be on the planet forever. Altruistic people FTW. All sweet grandmothers, but only the sweetest of the sweet. Adaptability. The world changes dramatically over the course of a few decades. This would only be compounded over centuries and millennia. Think about all the old people who don't want to learn about computers or hold on to outdated prejudices. If you truly wanted to live forever, you would need to be able to not only accept, but embrace new situations, technologies, mindsets. It may actually be difficult to find 1 million people who truly have that kind of fluidity, while also being discerning. I think you're the first one that mentions adaptability. Makes sense. How would you test this? At random. Dispassionate. Fair to rich and poor alike. Fair enough. What's the execution? Whoever it is, wouldn't be me. Lots of deep stuff with that immortality thing. Yeah, I'm not sure our minds are made for immortality. I think it would drive us mad. People serving life sentences for heinous crimes. Forever in prison, that's like hell. As long as it's not me, I'm good. I'd rather die tomorrow than be immortal. Immortality would only be great if you had the choice to end it whenever you've had enough. Would be a nightmare eventually, otherwise. 1. Me. 2. People I decide should be permitted to be immortal along with me. You're all thinking the same thing. Edit. Somewhere around 3,400 upvotes, the low quality replies started coming in. I've disabled inbox replies for this post, so if you're looking to specifically get my attention, it's not going to happen now. 1. Me. 2. People that aren't as smart / handsome / charismatic as I am. Fuck if I'm creating 999,999 potential sources of competition for supreme eternal overlord. Really good kind parents, as determined by them, their grown kids, and others involved. As long as there are people, there are going to be kids who need somewhere safe. Let's get them some great eternal babysitters. Fuck, imagine being an eternal babysitter. Caring for these kids, watching them grow up and eventually die, and then repeating that cycle over and over again. That would destroy you. 999,999 people and me. 999,999 ladies and me. Supreme empathy, intelligence, logic, a burning desire to further our species in the best possible way, selflessness and a fucking wicked sense of humor. I've always said, if there was one thing I'd like aliens to have, other than empathy and compassion of course, it's a sense of humor. Mayo. How about anyone brave enough to witness everything and everyone they know and love decay in front of them? This is honestly a curse. Only the smartest. How would you find out? You can say whatever you want, but we all know it would be money. Something like divergence that test your different sociological skills. Cock size. At first people would need to apply for it, or opt out I guess. I would definitely opt out. there would have to be a pretty extensive vetting process. I would say one huge factor would the person would have to be sterile or at least not be able to have children or more children, so that they don't just perpetually expand their bloodline, forever screwing up family trees and evolution long term. I'd say it would also have to be a diverse group. Globalization is already happening, and 1,000 years from now we will probably have close to a single race with minor remnants of ethnic diversity. Would be cool to have the most diverse ethnicity preserved. I don't think age plays a huge factor, because your break-even point for wisdom and knowledge accumulation would be basically negligible against eternity. Morality, values, etc. will also change greatly even after 100 years. So, big factors. Thank you for your thoughtful response. I think just whoever wants it. I can't imagine many people actually wanting to be immortal. It would be epic. You phrase it like that's a good thing. I think the idea appears appealing at first, but it must be a burden in the long run. All you love gets taken by death. Time feels very odd after a few hundred years. You grow numb of the indecency of mankind. You don't just lose your curiosity as you've seen it all, time and time again. You lose your mind, and that's under the presumption of infinite youth. Mere immortality is far worse as you're trapped in a failing body for eternity. This will only benefit us in the long run, if it aids in natural selection. So however ironically, no, making it completely random will ensure a higher level of genetic diversity across the entire population, which will eventually be more beneficial than any other option. Me. Also me 999,998 spots left, folks. Good work, immortality friend. There are 6,909 languages today. Assuming dialects, then we should give 10,000 to one native representative of each language, regardless of nationality. Then we give immortality to the top 10 living artists in the top 10 mediums for each country, totaling about 20,000. Give an extra 20 over 20 for the top 50 countries in population for another 20,000, and another 10 hundredths for the top 10 countries for a total of 50,000 artists. Then we get to the cultural representatives. I'm no expert on cultures, but I'm going to guess there are at least 20,000 unique cultures, more than languages, but probably not much more. Let's take 6 people from each culture, 3 men, 3 women, who are experts on their people's history and life, and without regards to politics to represent it, giving 120,000 cultural representatives. Next, take the top 5,000 published scientists along with a random assortment of 5,000 published/PhD holders for the top 10 scientific disciplines, and another 500 plus 500 from the next 100 disciplines. And 50 plus 50 for the next 1,000, giving 300,000 scientific experts. 300,000 are randomly selected from the world's population. At this point we are up to 780,000. Next, we take the best 5% of players from each sport, capping at 100, soccer/basketball, up to a cap of 10,000. The next 200,000 will be for eugenics, the ones with the best genes, fewest genetic faults and highest heritable IQ. There will be representatives from every race evenly distributed, Arabs and Hans, so that in the event of a worldwide catastrophe no group goes extinct and each people group has equally good stock. That's 990,000. Who gets the last 10,000? We take 20 towns with a population of 500 people from across the globe, and make everyone there immortal, but we don't tell anyone that lives there, ideally in remote locations with limited access. It'd be interesting to see how long it takes them to realize, and what those towns end up becoming after decades and centuries pass. Are you from Volteklemfeo? Global Hunger Games. The last million standing are granted immortality because they've earned it. People with endless sex drive and higher capability of reproducing, immortals will give birth to immortals, and it will go on. You fool, you monster. You've doomed us all. Those with a higher sex drive are now immortals, and that means we've got, like, the top 0.01% of sex drive in the world. Them some horny mothers, so they'll reproduce like crazy, and those children will have inherited their parents' prodigious sex drive, and they too will reproduce like crazy. Homo sapiens mortalis has a 7 billion unit head start. But Homo sapiens immortalis will catch up in a few dozen generations, and then things only get worse. Overpopulation. Homo sapiens mortalis begins to die off in droves as resource scarcity squeezes them off the globe. Ecosystems collapse to ruin. Wars and upheavals cripple the globe as humankind tries to turn against the rising immortal tide, but their guns are no more use against the immortals than a flashlight might be. If anything, the guns only show the futility of the conflict. Humans are vulnerable, the humankind is not. The last mortal man dies eventually, likely somewhere out in the desolate ruins of civilization, but the horny droves of immortals have only just begun to suffer. None of them die, so their population only continues to increase exponentially. They engage in massive starving orgies of frustration and rage at the failing world, but their sex drives are still 99.99% percentile of current human beings, so they don't and won't stop. More babies, more mouths, less food, less space, less joy. Soon, the writhing horny mass of immortals spills over from the packed land masses and into the oceans. Poor, sexual beings drift to the bottom of the ocean's deepest trenches and have watery threesomes in Davy Jones' locker. Everyone is starving. Everyone is drowning. Everyone is rotting, and there's no stopping it. They're burning in volcanoes. They're struggling to breathe on mountaintops. They're under rubble of ruined buildings and giving each other hand jobs. Soon, the writhing mass of humanity will begin to smother out the planet, covering every square inch of earth and ocean. The human tide rises as immortals spend millions of years compressed beneath the sexual writhing of the immortals above. Eventually, after billions of years of suffering and reproducing, Earth reaches critical mass and it begins to collapse in on itself as it forms a main sequence star. It is composed entirely of sexy unkillable gods, and they scream for all eternity as they burn under the massive compressing weight of the golden star. That star is Sol. It is a sun. This has all happened before. It will all happen again. Thank whatever deity it is that you believe in, that you are not of the 0.01%. For their lot, and the lot of all those to come, is among the worst horrors that man, with our very limited minds, could ever imagine. Who's the richest? Then the immortality will trickle down to the rest of us. The stupidest 1 million people you can find. Nice, I got a shot there. Number 1 would be no politicians or Hollywood types. Did you do everything in your power to succeed? Were you prepared for opportunity but it never arose? Did Lady Luck never knock on your door and you went 36 years getting dumped in, but you managed to still be the nicest person to everyone you met, even though you were forgotten after every deed? Boy, have we got an offer for you. It's time to right those wrongs and clean the dump off your life. It's your time to shine, my friend. It's time to make up for lost time and rewind to your prime, because it's immortality time. I deserve it. Gladiators, enter the arena. Geniuses only. People who can help the world. Let's hope they are not evil geniuses. Biggest hits. People with important jobs such as doctors, nurses, various researchers, etc. that want to / enjoy working long term and want to live forever, would rather have someone that enjoys working help contribute to society forever to help better it. Thanks for the thoughtful response. A test of mental stamina, 1 year complete isolation from all technology, 1 more year spent in a room with your